My dear one, I want you to close your eyes right now. Yes, you. Close them gently. Picture yourself coming home to your own sacred space. You turn the key, you open the door, everything is exactly as you left it. There's no tension waiting for you, no one demanding explanations, no energy but your own beautiful, peaceful energy. Take a deep breath, feel that? That's the feeling of being safe in your own life. Now open your eyes and look at me. How did that feel? If you felt relief wash over you, if your shoulders drop just a little, then you already know the truth I'm about to share. Life loves you, and life is calling you home to yourself. But wait, before you dismiss this as just another feel-good message, I want you to know something. What I'm about to tell you might save your life. Not your physical life, though it might do that too, but your emotional life, your spiritual life. The life of your soul that's been slowly dying in relationships that were never meant for you. You see, I've spent over 30 years teaching people about the power of thought, about how every cell in your body responds to every single thought you think. And here's what I've discovered. The person who chooses to live alone, who has fallen in love with their own company, that person has found the secret to true healing, to true power, to true love. I know what you're thinking, but we're told we need someone else to be complete. My dear, that's the biggest lie you've ever been sold. You are already whole. You are already complete. You are already loved by life itself. Your point of power is always in the present moment. And in this moment, I want you to hear this truth. You don't need anyone else to validate your existence. Let me shock you with something. In my practice, I've seen thousands of people. And you know who the healthiest ones are? Not the ones in long marriages, not the ones desperately seeking their soulmate. The healthiest, most vibrant, most alive people are the ones who chose themselves, who said, I'm enough, just me, just as I am. Let me tell you something about mirror work. Every morning, I stand in front of my mirror, I look into my own eyes, and I say, I love you. I really, really love you. This is the most powerful work you can do. But you know what? It's almost impossible to do this work when someone else is watching, when someone else is judging, when someone else's energy is interfering with your sacred practice of self-love. Try it right now. Yes, right now, if you're alone, stand up and say out loud, I love you. Say your name. I love you. How did that feel? Awkward? Strange? That's because you've been trained to give that love to everyone but yourself. You've been trained to believe that self-love is selfish. But my dear, self-love is survival. You want to know why I believe living alone is the greatest gift you can give yourself? Because when you live alone, you get to create your own reality without interference. You get to think your own thoughts without someone telling you you're wrong. You get to feel your own feelings without someone making you responsible for theirs. Think about this. Right now, as you're listening to me, how many of your thoughts are really yours? How many of your beliefs about relationships came from your mother, your father, society, movies? How many times have you betrayed your own truth because someone told you that being alone meant you were broken? Here's a truth bomb for you. The divorce rate isn't high because people can't commit. It's high because people commit to the wrong things. They commit to avoiding loneliness instead of embracing solitude. They commit to social expectations instead of personal truth. They commit to fear instead of love. I'm going to share something personal with you. My childhood was not easy. I experienced things no child should experience: abuse, poverty, abandonment. And for years I thought I needed someone else to heal those wounds. I thought if I could just find the right person, they would make everything better. But you know what I discovered? The only person who could heal me was me. And the only way I could do that deep healing work was in the sacred sanctuary of my own solitude. And the only way I could do that deep healing work was in the sacred sanctuary of my own solitude. You see, when I was living with others, trying to fix myself through their love, I was like a plant trying to grow in the wrong soil. No matter how much water you give it, no matter how much sun, if the soil isn't right, the plant will wither. And my dear, your soul needs the soil of solitude to truly bloom. And when you live alone, every morning you wake up and ask yourself, what would make me happy today? Not what would make them happy, not how can I avoid conflict, but what does my soul need right now? And then, my dear one, you get to give that to yourself. Without guilt, without negotiation, without compromise. Let me paint you a picture. It's Saturday morning. You wake up naturally, no alarm, no one else's schedule to consider. You stretch in your bed, taking up all the space. You decide to have ice cream for breakfast because your body is craving sweetness. You dance naked in your kitchen while making coffee. You spend 3 hours reading a book in complete silence. You take a bath at 2 p.m. You eat dinner at midnight. Every choice is yours. Every moment is authentic. This isn't loneliness. This is freedom. You see, your body's always talking to you. Always. When you're in a relationship that's not right for you, your body screams. Those headaches you get, that's your body saying no. That knot in your stomach, that's your body saying this isn't safe. That exhaustion that sleep doesn't cure, that's your body begging you to choose yourself. I had a client once, let's call her Margaret. She came to me with chronic fatigue syndrome. The doctors couldn't find anything wrong. She'd been married for 30 years, nice house, successful husband, grown children, the perfect life, right? Wrong. When I asked her when she last felt energized, she couldn't remember. When I asked her what she would do if she could do anything, she whispered, live alone in a cottage by the sea. 6 months later, she did exactly that. And you know what happened? Her chronic fatigue disappeared, vanished, like it never existed, because it wasn't a medical condition. It was her body's way of saying, I can't do this anymore. I need to be free. But when you live alone, when you honor your own rhythm, your body begins to trust you again. It relaxes, it heals, it opens, because finally, you're listening to it instead of overriding it to keep someone else comfortable. I want you to understand something. Choosing to live alone is not about hating people. It's not about being bitter or damaged. It's about loving yourself so much that you refuse to abandon yourself for anyone. It's about knowing that all is well in your world. Here's what no one tells you about relationships. Even the good ones require you to betray yourself in small ways every day. You go to bed when they go to bed, even if you're not tired. You eat dinner at their preferred time. You watch their shows. You listen to their music in the car. You vacation where they want to go. And bit by bit, choice by choice, you lose yourself. Let me ask you something, and I want you to really think about this. When was the last time you felt pure joy? Not the kind of joy that comes from making someone else happy, but the kind that bubbles up from your soul when you're doing exactly what you want to do. For many of you listening, it was when you were alone, when no one was watching, when you didn't have to perform. You know what's revolutionary? A woman who doesn't need a man who doesn't need a woman, a person who doesn't need another person to feel complete. Because when you don't need someone, you can actually love them, not from emptiness, but from fullness, not from fear, but from choice. You know what happens when you commit to living alone? You become magnetic. Because a person who is whole, who is self-loving, who is at peace with themselves, that person glows. They don't need anything from anyone. And that, my dear, is the most attractive quality in the world. I've watched thousands of people transform their lives by choosing themselves, by saying, I matter, my peace matters, my joy matters, and every single one of them had to face the fear of what people would think, the fear of being labeled selfish, the fear of dying alone. But here's what I know. You're going to die anyway. We all are. The question is, do you want to die having lived someone else's idea of your life? Or do you want to die knowing you honored your own soul every single day? Let me tell you about the lies we believe. You'll be lonely lie. Loneliness comes from abandoning yourself, not from being by yourself. You'll have no one to take care of you when you're old lie. Having a partner doesn't guarantee care. Ask anyone in a nursing home. You'll miss out on love, the biggest lie of all. The love you're seeking is inside you right now. Your thoughts create your reality. So what thoughts are you thinking about being alone? Are you thinking, I'm lonely? Or are you thinking, I'm free? Are you thinking, no one wants me? Or are you thinking, I choose me? Change your thoughts and you change your life. It really is that simple. I want to teach you an affirmation right now. Put your hand on your heart and say with me, I am safe in my own company. My home is a sanctuary of peace. I am complete and whole exactly as I am. Feel that? That's the truth, vibrating through every cell of your body. Now let me tell you what happens to your creativity when you live alone. Oh my dear, it explodes. You know why? Because creativity needs space, it needs silence, it needs freedom from judgment. When you're constantly considering someone else's opinion, your creative channel gets clogged. But alone you can paint at 3 a.m., write poetry on the bathroom mirror, sing opera in the shower, dance like no one's watching because no one is watching. You see, when you live with someone, you're constantly managing their emotions. Their moods become your moods. Their problems become your problems. Their limitations become your limitations. But when you live alone, you get to explore the infinite possibilities of who you are without anyone putting you in a box. Let me tell you about Jane. She came to me after 20 years of marriage. 20 years of making herself smaller so her husband would feel bigger. 20 years of swallowing her words. 20 years of anxiety medication because her body was screaming no, but she wouldn't listen. She told me, I don't even know what kind of music I like. For 20 years I've listened to his jazz. I think I might like country music, but I'm not sure. Can you imagine not knowing what music makes your soul sing because you've never had the silence to hear your own preferences? The day she moved into her own apartment, she called me and said, I can breathe. For the first time in 20 years, I can actually breathe. Within 6 months, she was off all medication. Her creativity returned. Her joy returned, her health returned. Why? Because she finally chose herself. And you know what she discovered? She loves heavy metal, loud, screaming, head-banging heavy metal. This quiet, reserved woman had a wild soul that had been caged for 20 years. Now she goes to concerts, she wears leather jackets, she's 63, and more alive than she was at 30. That's what happens when you stop living someone else's life and start living your own. This is what I want you to understand. Every relationship requires you to give away pieces of yourself, even the good ones. You adjust your schedule, you compromise on your dreams, you dim your light so you don't outshine them. You bite your tongue to keep the peace. And bit by bit, piece by piece, you disappear. But when you live alone, all those pieces come back to you. All that energy you spent managing someone else's life returns to you. And you can use it to create the life you actually want. Not the life that looks good to others, but the life that feels good to you. Here's a secret successful people won't tell you. Most of them have learned to be alone. They wake up before their families to have that sacred solo time. They travel alone for clarity. They have offices or studios where no one else is allowed because they know that greatness requires solitude. Innovation requires solitude. I'm going to tell you something that might shock you. You are more interesting alone. You are more creative alone. You are more powerful alone. Because when you're alone, you're not filtered through someone else's perception of you. You're pure, you're authentic, you're real. Think about animals for a moment. A cat doesn't question its worth because it sleeps alone. A tiger doesn't feel incomplete without a mate. They simply are. They take up space. They honor their needs. They rest when they're tired. They play when they're playful. They don't apologize for existing. This is how you're meant to live. And yes, there will be Sunday afternoons when the silence feels heavy. There will be moments when you see couples and wonder if you're missing something. This is normal. This is your programming trying to pull you back into the old pattern. But you know what you do in those moments? You put your hand on your heart and you say, I trust my choice. Life loves me. All is well. Because here's the truth. The loneliness you feel in those moments is nothing compared to the loneliness of sleeping next to someone who doesn't see you, of eating dinner with someone who doesn't hear you, of spending years with someone who doesn't know you because you've never felt safe enough to show them who you really are. I know that loneliness. I've lived it. The loneliness of being in a marriage where you're more alone than when you're actually alone, where you can't even cry freely because someone will demand to know what's wrong and how they can fix it, where you can't even think your own thoughts without interruption. That's not partnership. That's prison. When you live alone, you can dance at 3 a.m. You can cry without someone trying to fix you. You can laugh at your own jokes without someone rolling their eyes. You can eat the same thing for a week if it makes you happy. You can redecorate on a whim. You can be gloriously, unapologetically yourself. And you know what else? When you live alone, you discover that you're actually very good company. You're funny, you're wise, you're creative, you're interesting. All those qualities you've been seeking in others, they've been inside you all along, waiting for you to notice them. Let me tell you what I do on a typical day living alone. I wake up when my body is ready. I don't set alarms unless absolutely necessary. I start my day with mirror work, looking into my eyes and affirming my worth. I eat what my body asks for, not what's convenient for someone else. I work when I'm inspired, rest when I'm tired. I follow my natural rhythm. And you know what? I'm more productive, more creative, more joyful than I ever was when I was managing someone else's needs alongside my own. I want you to think about something. Every morning when you wake up, your first thought creates your day. When you live with someone, that first thought is often about them. What mood are they in? What do they need? What's on the agenda? But when you live alone, that first thought can be about you, about your dreams, about what would bring you joy today. This is the power of solitude. You become the author of your own story, not a supporting character in someone else's drama, but the star of your own beautiful life. And from that place of sovereignty, of self-love, of completeness, you can choose to share yourself with others. But it's a choice, not a need, not a desperation, a choice. You see, my dear, New Thought teaches us that our thoughts create our reality, that what we focus on expands. So when you focus on being incomplete without someone else, you create more incompleteness. But when you focus on being whole, being loved by life itself, being enough exactly as you are, you create more wholeness, more love, more enoughness. People ask me, but what about intimacy? What about touch? My dear, you can have all of that without giving up your sovereignty. You can have lovers who visit but don't live with you. You can have deep friendships. You can have meaningful connections, but they enhance your life, not complete it. They're the dessert, not the main meal. I want to share one more thing with you. The most important relationship you will ever have is with yourself. From the moment you're born until the moment you transition, you are with you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for your entire life. Doesn't it make sense to make that relationship beautiful? When you choose to live alone, you're saying to the universe, I am willing to do the work. I am willing to face myself. I am willing to love myself. I am willing to be with myself. And the universe responds by bringing you more love, more joy, more peace, more abundance. Because you're no longer looking outside yourself for what has always been inside. So here's what I want you to do. Tonight, when you go home, whether you live alone or with others, I want you to find a mirror, look into your own eyes, and say these words, I love you, I approve of you exactly as you are safe with me. Say it until you feel it in your bones. This is where your transformation begins. Remember, you can heal your life. You can choose peace over drama. You can choose self-love over self-abandonment. You can choose the sacred sanctuary of your own company over the chaos of the wrong relationship. Your point of power is always in the present moment. And in this moment, you can choose you. Life loves you, my dear one. Life wants you to be happy. Life wants you to be free. And sometimes the most loving thing life can do is show you that you are already complete, that you don't need another person to be whole, that the love you're seeking is already within you, waiting for you to come home. So come home to yourself. Create a life that feels good on the inside, not just one that looks good on the outside. Trust that choosing yourself is not selfish, but sacred. Know that your solitude is not a punishment, but a gift. Believe that you are enough, have always been enough, will always be enough. And remember this, in the infinity of life where you are, all is perfect, whole, and complete. You are not alone. You are all one. You are one with the power that created you. You are safe, you are loved, and all is well in your world. Now, let's close with this affirmation. Say it with me. I choose to live in the joyous freedom of my own company. I am whole and complete. I love myself unconditionally. My life is a beautiful expression of my true self, and so it is. And so it is, my dear one, and so it is.